Hey everyone, so I wanted to film this video as a video entry. You know how Gary Vaynerchuk says that you shouldn't look forward to weekends, you shouldn't celebrate Friday? And the basic idea behind this is that it's a red flag, it's a sign that you dislike your work, your career, and you're just counting down the days until you don't have to do it anymore. And so it's a sign for you to pursue your passion and find what you really enjoy. I found that most people in the general public are like this, or at least a lot of them. You know, they're counting down the days, they're disengaged, and they're waiting for Friday. And they're unhappy with Wednesdays because it's the middle of the week. After seeing it happen so much, I've come to realize that this is the norm. Most people, or at least a good portion of the general public, lives just like this. They find their job mediocre, they're not too engaged with it. And to an extent, I think that's okay, because people are all like this. You know, people have been like this since the dawn of time, and now, you know, every generation is moving more and more towards following your passion and finding work that they're passionate about, but it's still outside of the norm, and it's still something that's more of a blessing and something you have to earn than a privilege or something that's dropped on your lap. So I don't think it's a red flag as much as, you know, just an indication of something that you can choose to act on if you're aware enough and you believe that you can find a better job that you enjoy and could potentially one day pay you a decent amount. For some people, they don't believe that, or they're not aware of that, so they just, you know, continue to stay in this state of, you know, this mediocre job. And then, of course, the people who do work towards it, you know, it's going to take time. It could take years, decades to get to that job. You know, you have to acquire the skills, you have to do the research, you have to test out different jobs and titles. Or you might like parts of your current job but not other parts, and maybe with a few lateral movements or promotions or discussions with your boss, you can update your existing job. So yeah, now that when I see someone say like, oh, I can't wait for Friday, or oh man, it's only a Wednesday, I am a little empathetic. I understand, and I also don't jump to conclusions and judge them and say, oh, I don't, at least in my head, I don't judge them by saying you're horrible, you clearly had a job that you hate and it's your fault for not doing it. That's not how it works. It's, you know, it's not something where you can just hop up and find a much more fun job, you know. So if anything, you know, it's about spreading the awareness that it's possible, and then promoting people to take action so that they make those changes. For me, at least, I'm not completely there myself. I think I do like parts of my life and parts of my work, but I can't say I'm completely engaged all the time. And I can't say I jump out of bed on Mondays, and I can't say that I am not somewhat happy on Fridays. And maybe some of that's okay. But at the same time, I also don't really see any enjoyment as much anymore of the weekends. I don't really see the weekends as something that brings anything revolutionary that the weekday evenings can't. I mean, you know, TV and stuff like that. And that's a funk that, you know, when I get into, I hope to, each time that happens, I hope to break out of it, and sometimes I do, by trying new things, testing out new activities, stuff that I enjoy, which usually involves getting out of the house. I think TV and video games are only fun to a point before they start to numb my mind. So I guess we're all in this together, and we're all trying to figure it out. But I haven't figured it out completely yet, and maybe that's okay as long as I keep trying. Maybe you're in a similar boat and you're trying to figure it out. But yeah, ultimately I think there's also luck involved. Some people, everything just aligns by the time they're 17, and what they love to do is what makes them a lot of money on YouTube. But that's not everybody. That's a small percentage of people where it just ends up working. I think I've heard a lot of different things that you can use to kind of improve that. Motivation can come from a higher purpose or meaning, whether that's like helping others, saving the world, saving lives, or just spreading awareness about a message. Those are common non-profit purposes that drive people. Helping a community can be another one. So finding something that brings you purpose can really help build that sense of passion and enjoyment. On the flip side, I think maybe disengagement happens to everyone. I've been told by people, every job has those moments where it just gets a bit monotonous and you don't want to be there, and it's too repetitive, or it's just not that engaging for you. Every single job. So, don't strive for this unrealistic perfect. That's what I've been told as well. And I think that there's some truth into that as well. I think ultimately, for me, and maybe for you, just paying attention into all of that and then testing it out. Maybe for you find a lot of purpose in one thing. I find purpose in helping people. I didn't think I would, but now that I'm starting to help people on my blog and YouTube, and I'm getting thank you messages, it's really quite fulfilling. So that's what happened to me. But you might try something, and I've tried volunteering, and sometimes it just doesn't give me much fulfillment. Or same with donating money to homeless and stuff like that. Not as much fulfillment as I thought. But then, disengagement doesn't necessarily have to come from some higher level purpose. I think some people just get really excited just on the day-to-day doing stuff that they enjoy. There's people at that shooting range, Terran Tactical, who basically teach others how to shoot really expensive guns, and they seem to be extremely excited about that, and they've also built a huge Instagram following off of it. And that seems like just passion out of fun. So I think test out and try different things. For me, I think I'm going to try testing out just doing something fun, something I enjoy, even if it's not going to make me money, even if it's in my free time, and making sure that's in my routine, because if it's not, then you do all this other stuff that you don't want to do, and then you just end every day just kind of like meh. So it's different for me what that is. For sometimes it's Pokemon Go. I love that game, and for you it might be something different. And then now I'm at a stage where Pokemon Go's declining, at least for now, until they make some updates. I know there's going to be a Pokemon Go festival that I bought a ticket to, which you can play remotely. So that'll kind of boost me back up there. But I'll have to look for other things. And yeah, sometimes it's just walking. Sometimes it's something you've never tried before. I've never shot a gun before, been to a shooting range, and I had really no interest until very recently, as I've seen like all the cool shooting ranges and stuff. Like it's just something to tick off the bucket list that would be really fun. But there's my video entry, and yeah, it's basically a collection of my thoughts on finding passion in a world of disengagement. I'm definitely open to any advice you have, so if you have any comments, and I would like some credibility, so basically leave a comment of a story in your own life where you've experienced some level of boost in engagement from trying or doing something. And that will just kind of give our community, a small community, some clues on what we can do to kind of find our passions or boost our engagement in life.